Welcome back. In the studio today, Shane.
Hey Paul. Awesome to be here with my best friend and the best sports talk show host in the history of the world. I sincerely mean that. Us serious journalists have to get each other's backs. Paul, would you agree that Nick Saban is the best coach ever? Maybe even better than Vince Lombardi. Better than Mike Shula, and I thought he was awesome. He's not better than Bear Bryant, yet. But that's because Bear is God. You can't be better than God. But Coach Saban could become God one day. Paul, would you agree that Auburn can't hold Bama's jocks? Paul, would you agree that Tim Brando is a hack? I gave up delivering ice to become a serious journalist like you. After that little setback where they fired me for telling the truth, I've come back stronger than ever. I was too big for that publication. They only had 12 readers anyway. He was just a dumb OB. Now, you can read my columns in the Farmer's Almanac, the Weekly Reader Highlights, the West Jefferson County 4th grade newspaper, on the internet at ShaneKnowsNothing.com, WeMakeUpChampionsHipsWeekly.com, BamaIsTheBestAndAuburnSucks.com, and of course all of these are linked off the Finebaum.com. And I'm even writing a book about the Finebaum show. It is called We Are the Two Best Friends That Anyone Could Have, the Shane Loves Paul book.
Why our accomplishments are astounding.
Paul, I think Alabama will go 18-0 this year.
Shane, there are only 14 games.
I think that we will beat the Barners so bad that it will count for 2 wins.
That makes 15 wins.
Don't be an OB and try and mess with the math. It's facts, Paul. Alabama has 43 national championships. The Aubs only have a half. It was a split championship and they were on probation.
Wasn't Alabama on probation this past year?
Yeah, but that wasn't real probation. That was for selling textbooks. The Bama players are not there for an education. They are there to play football. They could go anywhere and get an education. They chose a place like Alabama where we look up to Forrest Gump as the mental giant.
But weren't half of Bama's national championships shared, too?
You are starting to sound like an OB.
What about 1941?
Paul, the publication that was created 40 years later realized what most Bama fans know. No one but Bama matters. Paul, Auburn cheats.
Hasn't Alabama been on probation for most of the last 2 decades?
That wasn't Bama's fault. Other teams turned them in.
But wasn't Bama cheating? Don't they currently have 16 teams on probation, a new NCAA record?
Paul, Chet Williams is a crook. Paul, Gene Chizik is a joke. But not a funny joke, like me. He's a sad joke that no one laughs at. Also like me. Paul, Auburn is a cow college. Nothing but trailers and farms down there.
Shane, you do know there are more trailers in Tuscaloosa County than in Lee County, where Auburn is located.
Paul, Auburn pays players.
Shane, Auburn hasn't been on probation in 20 years.
Paul, would you agree that Auburn sucks and Bama is the best? Paul, can we change the name of the show to the Shane and Finebaum Show? People just love to hear me. I'm much more than a caller.
Shane, people hate you. They say there are potato chips that are smarter than you. They say they would rather eat razor blades than hear you. They say that you are dumber than Nancy Pelosi. They say you couldn't pour piss out of a boot if the instructions were on the heel. People say that if your brains were gasoline, you wouldn't have enough to run a piss and go-kart around the inside of a donut. They say you are as sharp as a marble. They say that you haven't got the brains that God gave a rock.
Paul, them is just obvious talking. You and me are the 2 best friends ever. Paul, I love you and I'm not afraid to say it. Did I mention that Auburn cheats?
I think you might have mentioned that.
Hey Paul, Chet Williams and Bobby Louder are crooks. They pay players. My sources are strong on this.
Then why hasn't the NCAA caught them?
Because they're all a bunch of barners. Everyone's out to get Bama, because Bama is the best. Paul, did you know Bama owns Auburn? Bama is so much better than Auburn. It's not even funny, but it is.
Shane, you do know that Auburn has won 7 of the last 10 games against Alabama. That is 70%. That's a lot.
Those games don't count. Alabama was on probation.
Do you know how you get put on probation?
Yeah, them obbies and volunteer fans tell on Alabama because they are jealous. Paul, did you know that Auburn is a cow college?
Shane, your team just won the national championship and all you can talk about is Auburn?
It's because Auburn cheats. Did you know that Bama has 56 national championships? Paul, did you know that I love you? If I had kids, I'd name them all Paul, kind of like George Foreman names all of his kids George. Paul, did you know that Auburn cheats? You can read all about it in my expose piece on ShaneKnowsNothing.com.